few weeks ago, we talked about one of the lecture topics, leaking energy. Leaking energy, okay? So leaking energy is actually a very important idea to understand in the practice of IST, because with leaking energy, now you don't have the flow of the energy going down the front, coming up the back. And in the practice of Tai Chi or meditation walking, and then when you do the two-person partner drills with leaking energy, that means that it's going to stay somewhere in the upper body and not be able to flow into the bottom half of the bottom half. You won't have upper and lower working in harmony, and as a result, you won't have the energy go into the ground to create that rebounding energy. Okay, so to cultivate the energy to flow in unification, to flow without separation, then we talk about things like FRCT, right? If you're doing the form, let's say Tai Chi, and you're using force, meaning that the arms are leading, that's going to create leaking energy. You won't have the flow go down now because you're leading with the arms. That's one thing you don't want to have. If your alignment is not correct, now the energy is going to go somewhere else. Take, for example, if you're twisting, you don't want that, right? If you're twisting, that means that some part of the joints are not properly aligned, then you'll have leaking energy. If you're practicing the form and you're thinking about what you're going to do for work tomorrow, what you're going to make for lunch, that's also going to be leaking energy. Because now that when you're doing the set, you don't feel the movements. You don't listen to how the energy flows. That's because you're thinking about something else. That's why the importance of Jing Sha Lai is very important. Jing Sha Lai, like I said, is always in the present moment. When you're in the present moment, you don't think about what happened already, and you don't think about in the future. You're just doing what you're doing at the moment. That will have the energy flow a lot better, right? Song, also very important to maintain the energy to flow correctly, to not have leaking energy. If you don't have song when you're doing the set, where can the energy go? It just only stay on the surface. It's not penetrating song. It's not penetrating sinking where it goes into the space. That's why song plays a very important role. Because without song, the energy just stays in your body. You won't have the thing to move, right? So I received it some. I think I sent Edmund the thing on the.
Oops, lost.
If you're gonna use a ping pong paddle, if you're gonna use a tennis racket, if you're gonna shoot a basketball, if you do it with just the arms, it's very awkward because the arms don't have the guidance of the ground. So if you know how to have song, now the rebounding energy will know how to guide the arms to let the energy make the movement to execute it. So if you just only use your arms to do it, then now you don't have the foundation of the ground. So you have leaking energy because you don't have the fluidity of the smoothness coming from the ground to let it rebound all the way to the hands to make the movement. It's the same thing like Tai Chi. If you do wore off and you just use your arm, from afar it may look right, but the feeling of how it's done is already separated. You want it to always come from the ground, allowing the energy to rebound, and it happens at an instant, because what you feel at the ground and when it gets to your hand, it actually happens at a very fast. It doesn't take like 5 seconds or 3 seconds to get to the hand. Once you start from the ground, it automatically gets to the hand. That's how fast the line energy is. It's everything moving together. Okay? So the importance of maintaining that in all the practice is very important, because that's part of the Daijiu. That's a part of the cycle of the energy that's constant in the practice. And once you're more mindful of it and you start to realize its value, and then when you practice, now you start to allow the energy to do the movement. When somebody is giving you an incoming force, like 2-person drill, now you let the energy and you guide that to let it come in. When that happens, then everything is one unit. You don't worry about it getting stuck in your arms, stuck in your shoulders, and that takes time to develop. Okay? So everything we do won't happen overnight, not even over the course of many months. But every time you practice, you start to feel it more and more and more. And then not suddenly one day, but gradually over the course of time, one day you'll say, hey, it just feels very different. And that's how you know. And then when you come to the in-person class or play with somebody in 2-person drill, wherever you're at, you start to know it because you feel it already. And the person playing with you say, hey, you feel very song. You feel like you can deal with my energy. And that's how it works. So that's just another reinforcement on leaking energy. And